Eugène Ionesco, a Romanian-French playwright, crafted the Bald Soprano, La Cantatrice Chauve, in 1950. This absurdist play captures the meandering conversation of 6 individuals and marked Ionesco's debut in theatre production. Over time, it gained widespread recognition as one of France's most renowned theatrical works, firmly establishing itself as a seminal piece of absurdist theatre alongside Samuel Beckett's Waiting for Godot, 1948. With the subtitle Anti-Play, the Bald Soprano delves into themes of the ambiguous and essential nature of language, the sense of alienation, the potential for enduring separation from others, and a satirical critique of the bourgeoisie and conformity. Challenging the prevailing moral structures found in linear plays, the Bald Soprano embraces a cyclical and unconventional form. The opening scene unfolds in a middle-class room, where Mrs. Smith, an Englishwoman, joins her husband, Mr. Smith, in observing the time. It's 9 o'clock. Every aspect of their existence is steeped in Englishness, from their slippers to their pipes. Engaging in mundane chatter, Mrs. Smith discusses trivial matters like the quality of oil she recently bought from the grocery store, contemplating whether she should try a different one, while being cautious not to offend anyone's sensibilities. In her account of the evening's events, Mrs. Smith mentions a boy named Bobby Watson who recently passed away. However, it is gradually revealed that Bobby had died not recently, but 2 years ago, then 3 years ago, and then 4. To complicate matters, Bobby Watson appears to be a composite of multiple family members, and curiously, Bobby Watson is set to marry a woman also named Bobby Watson. The Smiths discuss the obligatory wedding present, only to discover that Bobby is deceased again, relieving them of the need to purchase a gift. As the narrative unfolds, the true identity and mortality of Bobby Watson become increasingly ambiguous, leaving the Smiths in a state of frustration and bewilderment. The Bald Soprano, with its innovative and subversive narrative structure, challenges conventional theatrical norms, exposing the absurdity inherent in language, social constructs, and interpersonal connections. Ionesco's work continues to captivate audiences, offering a unique lens through which to examine the complexities of human existence. The Smiths find themselves embroiled in a debate over the future of the Bobby Watsons, particularly who will assume responsibility for the 2 young Bobby Watsons now that their father has passed away. In the midst of their discussion, their maid, Mary, enters the room and interrupts their deliberations by announcing the arrival of the Martins, another English couple. Prompted by this news, the Smiths retreat to their bedroom to change clothes. As the Martins make their acquaintance, an overwhelming sense of déjà vu envelopes them. They engage in conversation, gradually realizing that they both reside in Manchester. Astonishingly, they discover that they took the same train to London, occupying the same second-class cabin. Their lives seem eerily intertwined, as they reside in the same house at 19 Bromfield Street, sharing a bed and each having a 2-year-old daughter named Alice. However, the most peculiar detail about their daughters is that one has a red left eye while the other has a white left eye. Struck by these myriad coincidences, the Martins conclude that they must be husband and wife. As the Martins succumb to fatigue and decide to take a nap, Mary, the maid, reveals to the audience that the couple cannot possibly be married. This revelation stems from the fact that Mrs. Martin's daughter has a white left eye, while Mr. Martin's daughter has a red left eye. Meanwhile, the Smiths re-enter the living room and engage in a discussion about their unexpected guests. The doorbell rings, but when Mrs. Smith opens the door, she finds no one there. This peculiar occurrence repeats itself several times, leading Mrs. Smith to surmise that a ringing doorbell signifies an absence of visitors. However, just as she reaches this conclusion, the doorbell rings again, and the fire chief makes his grand entrance. The fire chief expresses his disappointment, as he was tasked with extinguishing all the fires in the city but finds none in the Smiths' house. The Smiths apologize for the lack of excitement and reassure the fire chief that they will promptly inform him if a genuine fire ever occurs. With an air of idleness filling the room, the fire chief, the Martins, and the Smiths find themselves with nothing to occupy their time. To alleviate their collective boredom, they begin to share a series of stories, most of which veer into nonsensical territory. Eventually, Mary re-enters the living room, further entangling the already intricate web of absurdity. In an unexpected turn of events, Mary unravels her own story, shocking everyone by confessing her love for the fire chief. The Smiths are taken aback and physically push her out of their living room, appalled that a servant would impose her personal narrative onto theirs. As Mary is reciting a rather accomplished poem, the Smiths forcefully remove her from the stage. The fire chief retreats off stage as well. The two couples, now left to themselves, begin reciting various clichés and platitudes. However, the utility of language is called into question as their words lose coherence and fail to convey any meaningful communication. Their attempts to interact become futile, and their problems solidify into permanent states. Amidst the chaos, occasional screams punctuate the atmosphere. The stage lighting gradually fades as the couples continue to argue. When the lighting returns, the Martins assume the same postures as the Smiths had at the beginning of the play, creating an eerie repetition. They start uttering the initial lines of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, further emphasizing the cyclical nature of their existence. In interviews, Ionesco revealed that his inspiration for the play came from his experiences while learning English. At the age of 40, he used a simile, a popular French language program that teaches through repetitive real-life conversations, much like those depicted in the Bald Soprano. Ionesco experienced a surreal sensation as the factual statements he was learning to repeat, such as the number of days in a week or the direction of the floor, seemed inescapable. However, these words could only suggest reality without fully capturing its essence. During his English studies, simple words turned into parodies of themselves, heightening the absurdity of language. The Bald Soprano serves as Ionesco's attempt to convey this mesmerizing and surreal experience to others, bringing them into a similar realm of questioning and reflection. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.